Hello there, Commonwealth from here inside Ocarina of Time Remake with the open world. In many ways, Ocarina of Time was the first real 3D open world console game, while also not being because of all the restrictions, limitations, and of course loading screens, as it was back then. Hyrule Field is very empty, not counting Lon Lon Ranch and a few grottos, especially those close to Hyrule Castle Town and Hyrule Castle. There isn't really all that much, so I think we could see maybe a building or two, a point of interest added as a result of this remake. I also think they might add a little bit in the southernmost edge of Hyrule Field, because down there we only had the P-hat, and I think we could see maybe, I don't know, a little hut, a little bit of a tiny new village that wasn't there already, a side quest location, something that can add in addition to Lon Lon Ranch, which already in many ways was the side quest location, as of course Epona isn't mandatory to beat Ocarina of Time. And speaking of Epona, in the adult section, I think that she should be allowed to enter more parts of the map. I think that is another way of making it more seamless, apart from removing all the loading screens, because let's be honest, the map of Ocarina of Time isn't that big. You can easily make all of this accessible without any loading screens. With the pretty much non-existing loading times on the Nintendo Switch 2, I feel like the transition from Lake Hylia, Zora's River, Gerudo Valley and so on, it should be instantaneous. It should not be noticeable in the slightest. When it comes to Epona, I think she should be able to enter more of, say, at least go into Kakariko Village, go into Kokiri Forest, Zora's River, and just making it all more streamlined. Of course, Ocarina of Time is a story-driven game, but not to such a degree like, say, Twilight Princess, where it would completely break the flow of the story if you made every dungeon accessible, especially in the Master Sword section, because old Zelda, 3D Zelda games were in many ways divided to the before Master Sword and after Master Sword sections. So I really think that is something they can do, in addition to expanding a little bit of the open world and making so that the loading screens just don't exist anymore. That will be probably the biggest and best modernization, apart from better graphics and of course more details, foliage and so on, and definitely also compared to Ocarina of Time 3D. After all, that remaster came out 15 years ago.
I'm hesitant to completely say like, oh yeah, the loading screens are just going to be completely gone in this remake. Like, yes, I know it's possible. When we expect Nintendo to zig, they zag. So that's what makes me worried. Is just like, yes, we would think Nintendo would consider like maybe no loading screens being an option, but again, depends on how much of a remake this is, and it wouldn't surprise me if there are still some loading screens. Like, even if this game is almost completely loading screen free, I do think the dungeons themselves will have to be loaded in because they're so complex already. I don't know if you can just easily put those into a seamless open world. Those would have to be separated, just like the shrines in Breath of the Wild, you know, and Tears of the Kingdom, stuff like that. They definitely have the horsepower to make this an entirely seamless game, and I hope that they do it. I just don't want to just commit to the idea or to be disappointed if it turns out, hey, there are still loading screens in this game, but they're way faster because it's on the Switch 2.
I think a lot of people who will be playing this game for the first time should really experience how organic, especially the first part of the game is, but also get to experience it in a modernized Breath of the Wild-like manner. Not, of course, with paragliding or climbing. If you're gonna do climbing, I would restrict it only to really two locations. That would be Castle Town, so that you can climb to the top of, say, the Temple of Time, and also to the top of the windmill in Kakariko Village, because that would be two great vantage points to see everything. And then, of course, they could expand Hyrule Castle. I think there's more room to explore there, maybe see some interiors, or at least see more of the courtyards. Who knows, maybe we could even have the option of climbing Hyrule Castle. That would be a really welcome change, I feel, both when it comes to gameplay, but also making it feel as a more open space, because Hyrule Castle was very, very linear in the N64 and 3DS version.
Speaking of Hyrule Castle, of course, the big question is, how's Castle Town going to look in this game? But if we look at this map here, there's just so much inside that we can't access at all within the game, the most being like the back alleys, which have some NPCs in them, but as we've seen from the from this Unreal Engine render from Yianni Papazis. There's just so much that we could explore if this place was completely like seamless, so to speak. Even if we couldn't like climb the roofs, as you're implying, like we're doing a little Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2 type deal. There's just so much we can do in here, so many more people we could talk to, a lot more mini games to play. We can't forget the camera. Like, just remove that fixed camera and just give us the ability to look around, left, right, up, down, etc., etc.
The thing about Castletown is I really feel like they can add some more side quests here. Yes, you have the Happy Mask Salesman mask side quest in here, and there are some funny and quirky ones, but it really is the best way of adding more content to the child section of the game, because Ocarina of Time is special in the sense that it is the only Zelda game where you play both as a child and adult, and there are significant differences based on those two worlds, because in many ways it is a light world and dark world that you're dealing with, only that of course it isn't as drastic as it was in, say, A Link to the Past. Then I think we're gonna really get to feel that open world feeling in this settlement, because you're not gonna be restricted. Even in Twilight Princess, Castletown was restricted by the camera, while here, if you have full dual analog camera control, this could be the most explorable Hyrule capital settlement in the history of the franchise. And my question really is how they could make some of these areas bigger, because the fishing pond is very small in Ocarina of Time. We know that we had another fishing pond in Twilight Princess. I could actually see them expand this to become more of an open space where you also maybe canoe out to, you know, before doing the fishing rod thing, and have the option of doing two different types of fishing. So either from the shore side or, you know, going in with the canoe Twilight Princess style. I even think that Lake Hylia could be expanded and we could get some more water-based content in this area. After all, this is a game where you have underwater gameplay, and Lake Hylia is the one that takes the best advantage of it. It's just that Lake Hylia is very empty outside of the water temple, and I think they could really add some more content and maybe even life. If we're going open world, why not add wildlife? Like, especially in the adult section, when you have the bow, you could be hunting.
Add in some foxes, some wolves at nighttime, or even in the daytime. Like, and that's another thing. Like, maybe add more zombies at night, just to make things a little more intense there. Breath of the Wild did it. Why can't this game do it? I do think it's important to like not like fill every space, because that just becomes like an overwhelming type of deal there. But like you said, make the game a little more like vibrant per se. And especially with Lake Hylia, that could look absolutely gorgeous, like in this version of the game. You know, maybe have some more fish there, add some complex geometry to make it look more like lived in, filled with life and such. Yeah, that's ultimately where I think the Ocarina of Time remake can shine, is just, you know, making the game look as good as we thought it looked back in the day.
Yeah, and I also feel another place that could be a little bit expanded is the path up to Zora's Domain, Zora's River, to maybe be a little bit more similar to what we saw in Breath of the Wild. Maybe even make Zora's Domain more spectacular. King Zora, the Bond 16, and his famous...
I hope they don't change that at all. They just leave it the same pace.
Yeah, like removing all the loading screens, but keeping that one moment before having the loading screen going into Lord Jabu Jabu's mouth. Like, oh, it seems like one of the rivers, not Zora's River, because that one of course goes down, also down to Lake Hylia, but the other river that goes northward from here, as indicated by this map, from Gerudo Canyon and Valley past above Hyrule Castle. It seems like this river originates from around Death Mountain. And what if we could actually access this area, which wasn't accessible in the original Ocarina of Time, and allow us to follow the whole river streams, just like we could in Breath of the Wild?
How can we, like Breath of the Wild-fy, open air-fy or whatever, this kind of map without like making it completely open? Because structurally there's no way it can be like a completely open, like go wherever you want, go to the final boss.
No. Climb every surface. No. That's just not gonna work. Based on the obstacles, because there are some obstacles story-wise that shouldn't not be messed with. Gerudo Desert and the Haunted Wasteland. So past Gerudo Fortress, could they make it more open? Because we all know this path is like a maze in Ocarina of Time. But desert spaces, we have really seen the potential of them. First Twilight Princess, and then in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
I'm not a game developer. I don't know how easy it is to develop deserts, but like I can't imagine these are nearly as complex as...
Oh, you mean Metroid Prime 4 Beyond?
Oh my god. Maybe even bringing back the seals. You can bring back the sand seals even and just go from there.
Seal the deal.
Seal the deal. That's right.
But what are your thoughts about the open world or potential more open world of the Ocarina of Time remake? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell to not miss any upcoming episodes of Inside Ocarina of Time Remake. Last but not least, a big thanks to you for watching and to all our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons, with special shoutouts to Heroes, Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf and Kintaro. You rock, and please enjoy these awesome videos.